Welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again for another installment of the Auto Experience series. That's our review series where we do subjective and objective tests to give you a great experience of what it is to drive these wonderful vehicles. Today's topic, the 1988 Isuzu Trooper. And more specifically, the Trooper 2. Good Lord, this is not a canyon carving truck. Let's keep it under control, folks. Trooper 2, don't get all fussied up about that. That just means it came over from Japan with no back seats. They installed it at the dealership for you to avoid some taxes and tariffs and things of that nature. So that's all that Trooper 2 means. Why am I up in the canyons with this Isuzu Trooper? Great question that I don't have an answer for. But anyway, it's scenic, it's beautiful, and this is my adventure truck. Why did I buy an 88 Isuzu Trooper? Well, growing up, I believe it was in the early 90s my father had one, pretty similar to spec to this one here, and loved it. We went fishing, hunting, mild adventuring, got it stuck in some deep water one time. Core childhood memories of off-roading. Let's take in this beautiful vista that we're looking at today. A little picture-in-picture action, but it's just too gorgeous up here, mostly in second gear. This engine doesn't like to rev, it's more like a diesel. It's a 2.6 liter 4, putting out 120 horsepower, moving a truck around. So this thing is not quick, nor does it have a lot of handling prowess. That being said, it's an absolutely perfect adventure truck. The Isuzu Trooper was purely utilitarian, purely built for truck things. You know, hauling stuff around, mild off-roading, not getting cleaned often, that kind of stuff. We're not feature-laden here, guys. This one doesn't have a stereo. This one doesn't have AC, and that's okay by me. I love this truck. It's a truck that does truck things, and that's what a truck should do. Ask yourself a serious question here, folks. When's the last time you saw an Isuzu Trooper on the road? It's been a while. These things weren't exactly rare either. They sold a metric poop ton of these things. They just lost their value and rotted away in places where there was rust. If you had an environment where there were any kind of salted roads, these things were gone in 5 years. But here's a survivor, guys. We've got 283,000 miles and going on the odometer, and I love putting mileage on this truck. It's a freaking peach. Again, my use case was building a cheap, as we get some serious air back there, building a cheap off-road adventure machine. This thing isn't going to rock crawl, it's just going to get us to the fishing hole and back, and for that, it's absolutely perfect. Even looks cool doing it, bonus points. But what makes this one special, at least special to me, was the fact that it's a two-door with a 5-speed manual. Now originally, these were all two-doors, guys, tons of them. All those original SUVs, you know, when the 4Runner came along, the early S10 Blazers, Ford Broncos, they all started off two-door because they were the evolution of the trucks, you know, which were all two-door pickups at the time. So by the late 80s, these started to become more and more four-door and automatic equipped. So finding an 88, we're just crawling through these corners. Finding an 88 with a 5-speed manual and two doors is pretty hard to do, even back in the day. So securing this one is cool. I love how the two-door SUVs look, guys. Based on the pickup style, this is just how they should look. Yeah, it would be nice having back doors for accessibility, throwing the kid in the back, throwing gear in the back, but man, as far as aesthetics go, you can't beat a two-door. Let's talk about market real quick. There isn't one. I don't think there's a lot of these for sale, and whenever I do see them, they're non-running projects or they've been sitting for a while. So if you can find one for sale, do go check it out. If it's passed its smog or safety inspections and it's running and driving, definitely worth a check out. They're fun, and price-wise, I was $2,000 into this thing to start. Sure, I put a little more in getting new tires and a whole bunch of stuff. Check out the build series. Pretty cool what I did to transform this old beat-up adventure rig, but expect to spend some cash if you're getting one that cheap, but I wouldn't pay too much more than that. I think I've seen them go for like 65 to 7 for a well-sorted one, and that's probably ballpark where I'd be if I ever wanted to sell this, which really got to twist my arm into that one because I am absolutely loving it. Oh, that 2.6 liter really has some low down torque. It does not. That's sarcasm. But no, fantastic truck, guys. So score one if you can. Are these going to be worth anything? I don't know. Usually I have an opinion. I think a clean, original, well-maintained one like this can get in some value over time. I think it can appreciate a bit, but that's because of the sweat equity poured into it. Love this thing, but anyway, we're gonna test it out. Why not do an acceleration test to find out if it is the slowest vehicle I've ever reviewed on the channel? But you're missing the point if you're just looking at the numbers, guys. This thing's a damn peach. So yeah, if you like these vintage old trucks, and you should, or if you haven't given one a try, the entry fee is pretty low. Go check it out. You might find yourself falling in love with it, because I have fallen head over heels for this Isuzu Trooper. All right, enough babbling. On to the objective tests. With our Trooper up on the scales, let's get that curb weight and front rear balance. With a curb weight of over 3,500 pounds, we have confirmed that the Isuzu Trooper is indeed built out of concrete and steel. But seriously, this is quite light compared to modern SUVs. Probably something to be said about safety features in there. The curb weight of our Isuzu Trooper really finds itself in great company, at least great sports car company. These cars, however, have a good deal more horsepower, but you can see that the curb weight is right on par with a modern-ish sedan. I'm actually quite shocked to look at a 53% versus 47% front-rear weight distribution on the Isuzu Trooper. I'm sure this is due to the four-wheel drive system and those components adding some weight to the rear, but man, this is one balanced truck. If that acceleration test looks slow, it's because it was incredibly slow. Our Isuzu Trooper was totally destroyed by a Geo Metro convertible with only 48 horsepower. So yeah, the Trooper feels fine driving around, but boy, it does not have enough power to really accelerate fast. For a taller and narrower SUV, the Isuzu Trooper doesn't handle all that poorly. Manage your expectations here though, folks. There are no sporty pretenses packaged with the Trooper. Dead space is a massive tract of real estate that really reveals itself at highway speeds, when you finally get there, as you are constantly making adjustments to stay a straight course. In the lower speeds though, the truck turns in quite well and doesn't feel unbalanced. My suspension is a bit on the worn side. Read that as original. So the steering rack over-communicates rough patches of road with ease. Low-speed dirt roads are the driving sweet spot for this Trooper. Boxy is beautiful, and the Trooper is a stunner. This design has aged incredibly well, and currently is being captured in retro-styling new SUVs like the Ford Bronco. I personally feel that SUVs and trucks look much more attractive composed of flat surfaces with a lack of curved lines. The renewed paint also doesn't hurt this Trooper's aesthetics. It draws many stares as most onlookers assume that they've been dragged through a time warp, as it's been decades since these were last seen roaming the streets. I also want to draw attention to the two-door body style. It was incredibly rare later in the first gen run of the Trooper, as most were 4 doors with automatics. Barf. 2-door trucks and SUVs just rub me the right way. This is a truly Spartan interior. Early models had carpet as an option. Mine came without it, though it was most likely removed some decades ago and replaced by moi, as I'm a fancy kind of dude. The Isuzu Trooper has all of the interior features you need, and none of the ones these damn millennials need to survive. There is no AC here, no radio, and no limit on NVH. All you can eat noise, vibration, and harshness. The Trooper interior is pure utilitarianism, and it's better for it. The center gauge pod is visually stunning, but only features standard gauges that would normally be housed in the gauge cluster. The HVAC control are of a rudimentary, flawlessly functioning variety. Pure truck goodness in here. Powering this 4x4 is a 2.6-liter electronically fuel-injected 4-cylinder engine. It's a big block 4-banger for sure. This engine puts out 120 horsepower and 150 pound-feet of torque. But don't scoff at those numbers. The original Trooper was powered by a 1.9-liter 4-cylinder, outputting 86 horsepower. Then there was a carb 2.3 making 108 horsepower. Shortly after our 2.6-liter, the next year after, a GM-sourced 2.8-liter V6 made 120 horsepower as well, but a little more torque. This 2.6-liter is my favorite engine of the run. Power is decent overall, and it wears its truckiness proudly with a 5,500 RPM redline. It's a reliable power plant to boot, and simple to maintain. It falls in line with the Trooper's no-frills, rock-solid truck persona. One of the key ingredients to the classic truck recipe is a good manual gearbox. This Trooper features a 5-speed Isuzu built unit that seems right at home in here. Throws are tractor trailer truck long, and there's a good amount of slop to be navigated around. But I've never missed a shift or ground any gears. The 4-wheel drive gearbox is controlled via a similar looking shifter, with 2-wheel drive being the default and 4 high and 4 low being your options. The clutch is an on-off switch that functions just fine. This may seem like a poor critique of the gearbox, but it's actually a peach of a unit to operate. Leisurely long shifts befit a leisurely low-speed driving truck. Hunt down a manual Trooper. You'll be incredibly glad you did. Is the Isuzu Trooper one of the most overlooked 4x4s? The Trooper was sold here in the United States from 1981 to 2002. That's no flash in the pan. These trucks were everywhere, especially early on when they offered fantastic reliability and utility at a very approachable price point. But when's the last time you actually saw one driving down the street under its own power? Running examples have become certifiable unicorns. My 2-door 5-speed manual example, even more so. This is one hardy truck with a stout and reliable power plant, fantastic boxy looks, and no tech that'll ever fail on you. Classic off-roaders of the 80s and 90s vintage are catching fire with enthusiasts, but here soldiers on our little Trooper. A truck that offers an authentic off-roading platform, but is nearly removed from everyone's collective list of usual suspect trucks, including the Pathfinder, 4Runner, Blazer, Bronco, the list goes on. My dad may have been onto something in the early 90s, because this truck seared its way into my core memories of off-roading adventuring. And now that I have my own, it's time to create new memories with my son.